Welcome back, the followers of Stoic wisdom by Zeno. You know, life has a way of teaching us lessons, sometimes the hard way. In all my years of watching people, observing their habits and learning from their mistakes, I've come to realize one thing. Intelligence isn't just about what you know. It's about how you live. It's how you treat others, how you deal with challenges, and perhaps most importantly, how you learn from your own mistakes. But let's be real here. There are certain signs that show when someone is seriously lacking wisdom. I'm talking about those moments when you can almost see it, like a flashing warning sign saying, "This person is stuck." It's not about judging others, though. This is about protecting yourself from getting pulled into the same traps. These signs, they show up all around us, and if you're not careful, they can get in the way of your growth. Take a step back for a moment. Think about your own life. Are you protecting your peace? Are you guarding your mind from being dragged into the chaos of ignorance, arrogance, or stubbornness? It's not just about pointing out flaws in others. It's about reclaiming your freedom to be the best version of yourself. So, let's talk about these 6 signs. 6 unmistakable signs that can help you recognize when someone is, well, not so wise. Trust me, these signs will not only protect you from getting stuck, but they'll also help you avoid falling into these habits yourself. Because here's the thing, awareness is power. If you can recognize these red flags in others, you're already steps ahead. And if you see these traits in yourself, it's okay. It's a chance to change, to grow, and to do better. So, let's dive into it. Stay with me, and let's discover how you can protect your peace, avoid these pitfalls, and build the life you truly deserve. Ready? Let's begin. Number 1. Is your mind closed off to growth? Why ignoring new ideas is a dangerous trap. Let me ask you something. Are you holding on so tightly to your beliefs, opinions, and old ways of doing things that you've built a wall around your mind? If so, you might be stuck in one of the most dangerous traps of all, a closed mind. And here's the hard truth. When your mind is closed, you block not only new ideas, but also the chance to grow and become the best version of yourself. Think about this for a moment. A closed mind is like a fortress, one you've built brick by brick, but with fear, stubbornness, and pride as your building blocks. Sounds pretty solid, doesn't it? But here's the catch. What you're really doing is keeping yourself locked away from the very things that could help you improve. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This rings so true when you think about a closed mind. The world around you is constantly changing, new ideas, new perspectives, new ways of doing things. And the minute you shut the door on those possibilities, you limit your growth and your potential. You stop learning, you stop evolving, and you start living in a box of your own creation. I'll tell you a story from my own life to put this into perspective. I once worked with a manager named Mark. Mark had been running things the same way for years. When someone came to him with a suggestion to improve the workflow, he immediately dismissed it, saying, "We've been doing it this way forever, and it's always worked fine." You could see the closed-off attitude in his eyes. He wasn't interested in hearing anything new. He had his fortress of, "This is the way we've always done it," and he wasn't about to let anything crack it open. But here's what happened. While Mark stuck to his outdated methods, the rest of the company adapted to the changing times. They updated their processes, embraced new technology, and ended up leaving his team behind. Meanwhile, Mark blamed everything from the economy to bad luck for their failure, never once questioning whether his stubbornness had played a part in it. This is the danger of a closed mind. It doesn't just hurt you, it harms everyone around you too. Your inability to adapt and learn can drag down the people you work with, live with, or care about. And trust me, it's not a good look. A closed mind might feel safe, but it's also a prison that traps you in the past, preventing you from stepping into the future. So, here's some tough love. If you notice yourself rejecting new ideas or sticking to old ways of thinking just because it feels comfortable, it's time to break down those walls. You have the power to change, to open yourself up to growth. The Stoics teach us that wisdom isn't about being right all the time. It's about being willing to adapt, learn, and improve. Guard your peace by protecting your mind. Don't let stubbornness take away your ability to grow. Be brave enough to say, "I don't know everything, and I'm open to learning." True confidence comes not from holding on to the past, but from embracing the uncertainty of the future with curiosity and a willingness to grow. So, next time you feel yourself resisting something new, step back. Ask yourself, am I protecting my peace by holding on to this belief, or am I closing myself off from something that could make me better? Reclaim your freedom from the trap of a closed mind. Open up and let new ideas in. It's the only way to move forward. If you found these lessons about the 6 signs of a stupid person insightful and valuable, imagine how much more you can transform your life by embracing these lessons daily. Wisdom starts with awareness, and we're here to help guide you every step of the way. If this content has sparked something within you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who may need it. We want to hear your thoughts. What signs have you noticed in yourself or others? Share your reflections in the comments, and let's keep growing together. Your voice matters, so join the conversation. Number 2. Are you trapping yourself with a closed mind? A closed mind is like a fortress built from bricks of fear, pride, and stubbornness. It may seem safe, secure, even proud of its walls, but it only keeps you locked inside. You might think you're protecting yourself, but in reality, you're suffocating your potential. When you reject new ideas, when you refuse to learn from others, or when you insist on sticking to your ways no matter what the world is showing you, you're creating your own prison. And the worst part? You don't even realize it. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who just can't see past their own narrow view? Maybe it's someone at work or in your personal life. A person who constantly dismisses fresh perspectives, shuts down any suggestion of change, and resists learning from mistakes. They're the ones who say, "This is how we've always done it," or "I'm not changing for anyone." You've probably been there yourself too at some point. We all have. But here's the hard truth. A closed mind doesn't protect you. It keeps you stuck. It's a barrier to growth, a roadblock to progress. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true wisdom isn't about being right all the time. It's about being open to new ideas, to change, to self-improvement. As the Stoics say, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. I'll give you an example. Think of someone like Mark, the department manager at a company I worked for years ago. Mark was adamant that the old ways of doing things were the best. Despite seeing signs that his team was falling behind, he refused to adapt. A younger employee suggested implementing new software that could improve efficiency, but Mark shot it down immediately. "We've been doing it this way for years," he said, "and it's worked fine." But you know what happened? While other teams in the company moved forward with technology, Mark's team kept struggling. They were losing, and Mark didn't even realize it. He blamed everyone else but never questioned his own fixed mindset. Don't be like Mark. Don't let your pride or your comfort zone keep you from embracing new ideas. A closed mind isn't a sign of strength. It's a sign of fear. Fear of being wrong. Fear of change. Fear of not knowing. But here's the thing. The wisest people are the ones who are willing to say, "I don't know." They are the ones who remain humble, who learn from their mistakes, and who grow from the challenges life throws their way. So, what can you do about it? Start by being aware. Pay attention to your reactions when new ideas come your way. Are you dismissing them without a second thought? Are you defending your way of doing things, even when it's not working? Step back, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this mindset helping me or holding me back? Remember, a closed mind is like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. You can't move forward no matter how hard you push. But the moment you release that brake, you'll find the road is wide open, ready for you to take it. Protect yourself from staying stuck. Guard your future by staying open to learning and growing. That's how you'll find your true strength. Number 3. What's holding you back? The blame game or personal responsibility? Have you ever found yourself pointing fingers, blaming someone or something else for your failures? Maybe it's your boss, your co-workers, your circumstances, anything but you. It's easy to fall into the trap of blaming others for what goes wrong in your life. But here's a hard-hitting truth. Blaming others won't change a thing. In fact, it only keeps you stuck in a cycle of helplessness and excuses. Foolish people are masters of blame. They know how to shift responsibility, how to hide from the truth, and how to avoid confronting their own shortcomings. But here's the catch. They're not protecting themselves. They're trapping themselves. When you refuse to take responsibility, you lock yourself into a place where nothing improves. You keep repeating the same mistakes, blaming the world around you, but never changing your own behavior. It's time to stop playing the victim. It's time to step into the power of personal responsibility. Let me share a story. I once worked with Lisa, an event organizer who had a reputation for blaming everyone around her when things went wrong. One time, she was in charge of planning a big conference. When attendance was low, Lisa immediately blamed the marketing team for not promoting the event well enough. But after some digging, it turned out Lisa had failed to send the event details on time, delaying the whole marketing campaign. Even then, she refused to admit her mistake. She kept blaming others, refusing to take responsibility for her role in the failure. And you know what happened? Her colleagues lost trust in her. She lost credibility. She stepped down from her position because no one wanted to work with someone who couldn't own up to their mistakes. The thing is, she could have grown. She could have learned from her errors, taken responsibility, and made things right. But instead, she chose the easy way out, blaming others. Don't make the same mistake. Blaming won't get you anywhere. It's an easy way out, but it doesn't lead to growth. Responsibility, on the other hand, is the gateway to change. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it stings. But when you take responsibility for your actions, your mistakes, your successes, everything in between, you take back control of your life. You give yourself the chance to improve, to learn, and to move forward. Stoic philosophy reminds us that the obstacle is the way. Every challenge, every mistake, every failure is an opportunity for growth. When you stop blaming and start taking responsibility, you start taking control of your life. Next time something goes wrong, take a step back and ask yourself, have I done everything I could? Stop the blame game. Own up to your role, learn from it, and move forward. You'll be surprised at how much strength you'll find when you choose to own your mistakes. You'll reclaim your freedom from excuses, and you'll find true growth. Number 4. Blame game. Are you letting excuses hold you back from real growth? Blame. It's so easy to point fingers when things go wrong. It's the ultimate defense mechanism. Nothing is ever our fault. The market was too tough. The boss was biased. The timing was off. It's always something outside of us. But here's the hard truth. Playing the blame game only keeps you stuck. It's a way of avoiding responsibility, and worse, it stops you from growing. I've seen it in action. I once worked with a colleague, Lisa, who was in charge of organizing a big event. When things didn't go as planned, her first instinct was to blame the marketing team for not promoting the event enough. But upon closer inspection, it turned out that Lisa hadn't even sent the necessary details on time, which had delayed the entire marketing campaign. But did Lisa own up to it? Nope. She kept pointing fingers, never once acknowledging her role in the failure. And here's the thing, blaming others is like building a wall between you and your growth. When you refuse to take responsibility, you trap yourself in a cycle of denial. You stop learning from your mistakes, you stop improving, and most importantly, you stop growing. Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest Stoics, taught us that we are responsible for our actions, and owning up to them is the path to true freedom. He said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, the best way to handle a mistake is not to blame others, but to rise above it and take ownership. Only by doing so can we truly evolve. If you find yourself caught in a cycle of blaming others, take a step back. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What part of this situation is my responsibility? It's not about being harsh on yourself, it's about being honest. When you take responsibility, you unlock the door to growth. You open yourself to change, to learning, and to becoming better. It's a hard pill to swallow, but blaming others only keeps you stuck in the past. The moment you decide to take responsibility is the moment you free yourself to move forward. So, next time something goes wrong, stop and ask, what can I learn from this? That simple shift in mindset will be the first step toward reclaiming your freedom, your growth, and your peace of mind. Number 5. Arrogance versus humility. Are you really open to learning or just trying to be right? Arrogance. It's one of the most dangerous signs of foolishness. It's the belief that you're always right, that your way is the only way. But here's the truth. Arrogance isn't a sign of strength. It's a barrier to growth. It stops you from learning, from connecting with others, and from gaining new perspectives. And what's worse, it blinds you to the wisdom that could help you improve. Have you ever met someone who just has to be the smartest person in the room? I once worked with a manager named Michael. In every meeting, he dominated the conversation, interrupting everyone else and insisting his ideas were the best. He even mocked others' suggestions. When a project failed, he blamed his team for not understanding his brilliant ideas. But here's the kicker. It wasn't the team's fault. Michael's arrogance had blinded him to the real issues, and because of that, he missed out on the opportunity to learn from the failure and make things better. Arrogance is like wearing blinders. It stops you from seeing anything outside your narrow viewpoint. But humility is the key to unlocking real wisdom. It's not about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less. It's about prioritizing learning and growth over proving you're right. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that wisdom doesn't come from being the smartest person in the room. It comes from being willing to listen, learn, and evolve. Marcus Aurelius said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." When you're too focused on being right, you're wasting time that could be spent growing, learning, and connecting with others. If you found these lessons about the 6 signs of a stupid person insightful and valuable, imagine how much more you can transform your life by embracing these lessons daily. Wisdom starts with awareness, and we're here to help guide you every step of the way. If this content has sparked something within you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who may need it. We want to hear your thoughts. What signs have you noticed in yourself or others? Share your reflections in the comments, and let's keep growing together. Your voice matters, so join the conversation. Number 6. The power of empathy. Are you ignoring others and closing the door to your own growth? Have you ever thought about what happens when you stop truly seeing others? When you fail to step into someone else's shoes and understand their struggles, you're not just ignoring them, you're ignoring your own growth. In today's world, empathy is one of the most powerful tools you can possess, and its absence is not only harmful to relationships, it can actually stunt your own progress. When you ignore others, you're locking yourself out of valuable life lessons. And trust me, that's a trap you don't want to fall into. It's easy to be focused on yourself, your goals, your plans, your way of doing things. But life has a way of throwing us all into situations where we're reminded that we're not alone on this journey. Every person you meet has a story, a challenge, a way of seeing the world. And when you take the time to listen, to understand, to connect with them on a deeper level, you unlock not only new perspectives, but also new opportunities for growth. But when you ignore them, or worse, dismiss their feelings, you're limiting yourself. You're saying, I don't need to understand you to be successful. And that's simply not true. Think of it like this. Imagine you're building a house. Each relationship, each connection is like a brick in the foundation. Now, if you only focus on laying down your own bricks and ignore the others around you, your house is going to be unstable, lopsided, and sooner or later, it will fall. Empathy is that crucial mortar that holds everything together. Without it, everything crumbles. I'll give you a personal example. I once worked with a colleague named Paul, who always seemed to push his own agenda. He was so focused on getting his work done that he never took a moment to consider why others might be struggling. Once, when a co-worker was late for a meeting because her child had fallen ill, Paul didn't show any understanding. Instead, he criticized her in front of the whole team, questioning her commitment. It wasn't until months later, when Paul himself faced a personal crisis with a sick family member, that he realized how cold and inconsiderate he had been. That experience changed him, but not before he had already damaged relationships and lost trust with people around him. You see, empathy isn't just about being nice, it's about growing. When you take the time to understand someone's situation, you open yourself up to new ideas, different ways of thinking, and even solutions to problems you might not have considered. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom comes not from always being right, but from understanding others and learning from them. As Epictetus said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. So the next time you find yourself brushing off someone's struggles, stop, step back and think. How would you feel if you were in their shoes? Protect your peace by opening your heart. Guard your mind by embracing the power of empathy. It's not just about helping others, it's about helping yourself grow. Reclaim your freedom to see the world from all angles, and in turn, you'll become a stronger, more connected person. Number 7. Fear of change. Are you letting your comfort zone hold you back from true growth? Why do we fear change? It's simple, because it feels uncomfortable. The unknown can be terrifying, and sticking with what we know feels safe. But here's the hard truth. That comfort zone you're clinging to, it's actually the place where growth dies. Fear of change is the silent killer of progress. It keeps you stuck, repeating old patterns, and it tells you you're fine just where you are. But that voice is lying to you. The truth is, life moves forward whether we like it or not. Change is inevitable. If you don't embrace it, if you don't step out of that comfort zone, you're choosing stagnation. Think about it this way. Life is like a river. It's constantly flowing, constantly shifting. The wise know that to move with the current, you have to let go of the shore. The foolish try to hold on, resisting the flow, only to watch the river pass them by. I'll share a story that might hit home. Michael was a man who spent most of his life in the same small neighborhood. He knew every street, every face. His children urged him to move to a new city, a place with more opportunities. But Michael refused. "I know everyone here," he said. "Why would I go somewhere else?" It wasn't until the neighborhood started to change, the familiar faces moved away, the stores closed down, that Michael realized he'd been holding on to something that was no longer serving him. It was only when he finally moved that he discovered a whole new world of possibilities. You might be thinking, but change is scary. What if I fail? That's normal. Fear of failure is a natural part of stepping into the unknown. But remember this, failing is part of the journey. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our greatest strength lies in our ability to adapt. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very thing you fear, the change, is what can push you forward if you let it. So, don't let the fear of change keep you from stepping into your potential. Protect your peace by embracing the opportunities that change brings. Guard your mind against the whispers that tell you to stay where you are. Instead, reclaim your freedom by taking action. Change is hard, yes, but it's the only path that leads to true growth. Don't let fear control you. Step into the unknown, because that's where the magic happens. Change might not always be comfortable, but it's always necessary. So, the next time you feel that fear rising, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen if I let go of the past? You'll find that the best is yet to come. Number 8. Talking over. Listening. Are you truly hearing or just waiting for your turn to speak? Have you ever been in a conversation where it felt like the other person wasn't really listening to you? It's frustrating, right? They're just waiting for their chance to speak, and you can almost see the words building up behind their eyes. They don't really hear you. They're too busy thinking about what they're going to say next. This is a sign of a foolish person, and it might be a sign you're slipping into this habit yourself. Here's the cold, hard truth. When you talk more than you listen, you're not just blocking out others' perspectives, you're blocking your own growth, and that's a big deal. The Stoic philosophers taught us that true wisdom comes from listening, not just hearing, but really hearing what others are saying, feeling, and experiencing. They believed in the power of silence to bring clarity and understanding. Imagine that. Silence. A concept that's so simple, but yet so hard for many of us to practice in this world of constant noise. I'm sure you've had a moment where you've dominated the conversation. Maybe it's at work, at home, or even with friends. You've got so many ideas swirling in your head that you can't wait to share them. You feel the urge to speak, to prove yourself, to be heard. But here's the catch. When you're talking, you're not learning. You're not growing. You're just reaffirming what you already know, staying trapped in your own bubble. Take a minute and think about it. Have you ever found yourself cutting someone off mid-sentence just because you had something clever to add? Or maybe you've sat through a conversation where all you could think about was how to respond, instead of actually understanding what the other person was saying. That's the noise of your ego speaking louder than your wisdom. Now, I've been there. I used to be the one who would talk over others, desperate to get my thoughts out. I thought that being heard was the same as being understood, but that was a lie. It wasn't until I stumbled across the works of the Stoics that I realized I was missing the key to real communication: listening. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Simple, right? But so many of us ignore it, thinking we're smarter or more capable when we talk more. Here's the thing. When you're always speaking, you rob yourself of valuable opportunities to learn. Listening is the gateway to understanding, growth, and connection. It's through listening that we gain new perspectives, that we learn what works and what doesn't, that we truly understand people's pain, hopes, and struggles. When you listen, you open up the possibility of discovering something you never even considered before. That's where the magic happens. So, how can you change this? Start by becoming aware of your own patterns. Next time you find yourself about to interrupt someone, stop. Take a deep breath. Give them the space to share their thoughts without rushing to speak over them. Ask questions that show you're genuinely interested in what they're saying. What did you mean by that? Or, how did that make you feel? These simple questions open up doors to deeper understanding, and guess what? You'll be amazed at how much more you learn. Listening isn't passive. It's an active skill that requires attention, patience, and humility. When you listen, you not only learn from others, you also show them respect. You show them that their voice matters, and that's the kind of power that leads to real connection, growth, and wisdom. Number 9. Recognizing foolishness in yourself. Are you willing to face your own shortcomings and grow? Let's be real. We all have our moments of foolishness. We've all been arrogant, stubborn, or too afraid to admit that we were wrong. But here's the big question. Are you willing to look at yourself and admit that you've fallen into these traps? Recognizing foolishness in others is easy. It's a lot harder to look in the mirror and say, maybe I'm the one who needs to change. Here's the truth we often overlook. Growth doesn't come from pointing out other people's flaws. It comes from recognizing our own. This isn't about beating yourself up, by the way. It's about awareness and empowerment. Recognizing the signs of foolishness in yourself is the first step toward reclaiming your freedom and taking control of your own growth. You might be asking, why would I need to recognize my own foolishness? The answer is simple, because if you don't, you'll stay stuck. You'll keep repeating the same mistakes, making the same poor choices, and staying in the same unhappy patterns. But when you face your flaws head-on, when you acknowledge that you too might be getting trapped by your own stubbornness, arrogance, or lack of empathy, that's when change happens. That's when you break free. Let's be honest for a second. How often do we make excuses for ourselves? I'm just being confident, we say, when we're actually being arrogant. I've been doing it this way for years, we say when we refuse to embrace change. It's not my fault, we say when we're too afraid to take responsibility. These are the signs of someone who is stuck in a cycle of foolishness. And those signs aren't just in other people, they're in you and me too. But here's the thing, When you stop and recognize that you've been foolish, you open up the door to real change. It's like cleaning out your closet. You can't make space for new clothes until you let go of the old ones. You can't grow until you let go of the old, limiting behaviors that are holding you back. So, what can you do to change? Start with self-reflection. Take time each day to ask yourself, what did I do today that I could have done differently? Be honest with yourself, don't make excuses, and then commit to doing better tomorrow. Remember, the Stoics believed that we are not controlled by our circumstances, but by our responses to them. That means that every day is an opportunity to choose growth, to choose wisdom, and to choose freedom from foolishness. In conclusion, recognizing and avoiding the signs of foolishness is essential for personal growth and wisdom. By embracing awareness, humility, and the willingness to change, you empower yourself to break free from limiting habits and step into a life of greater understanding and peace. Remember, the journey to wisdom isn't about perfection, it's about progress. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Reflect on your own experiences. What signs of foolishness have you noticed in yourself or others? Let's continue this conversation and grow together.